Good day to all the resellers and the business partners out there. Welcome to yet once again another illustration and webinar on how to present the AG Telecoms VoIP system to your clients. Now, this training is quite unique and great. This is an awesome training that will teach you on how to do a one-on-one presentation with your client. Yes, you're sitting there at home thinking this is a great business opportunity, it's a great initiative. Now I've got the product knowledge. I know what I'm selling. I know who I want to sell to. That, but now my problem is, how do I sell? Let us say I'm in front of that client, I'm in front of that doctor, that lawyer, that business individual. How do I present this telephone system to them? So this is a great illustration that will take just a few minutes for you to understand how to do a great presentation and do an amazing close. So there are 12 easy steps in doing the AJ Telecoms sales presentation. Now, the steps are as follows. Number one, we'll do the business emphasis. Number two, attention grabber, the number identifier, clarity on number porting, explanation of cloud, the switchboard, the IVR, create indivisible quote in your head, obviously, the mobile extension, and obviously getting the response from your client, and all the extras and benefits that will make your deal become a sweetener. And definitely the last but not least, the pricing, which will help you in closing. So all these 12 steps, we'll go through them in a very quick, jiffy presentation, and you will be a master seller after this one. Now, before you even start, you need to be ready for war. Number one, you need to own a diary. First of all, before we even get started, make sure you own an empty diary, a full empty diary where you'll doing all your presentations in. It makes it easier to keep track and to always revert back to your old clients. And if by any chance there is a day you forgot your diary at home, you can borrow a blank piece of paper from the prospect, but it should be done professionally so that you are not a nuisance to them as well. Now, what is your presentation and what should it look like? So this, what you're seeing in front of you right now, it's what your presentation should look like once it's been completed. So we're going to go step by step on all these illustrations. And then once done with all these steps, this is exactly what your presentation will look like. These are all the 12 steps brought together into one picture. And again, this is an actual presentation from your diary. So remember I said you need to own an empty diary. So this is what the presentation will look like when you have now done it in front of your prospect inside your empty diary. Now, step one, emphasis of the business or the business emphasis. So in this step, you simply first write the name of the business down. If not sure of the business name, please ask the prospect and don't assume a business name, and make sure not to misspell as well. This can kill your presentation before you even start. This is similar to someone misspelling your name. You know, that's not nice. It's not great. Someone spelling your name wrong, even if it's one letter. So the same thing when you're sitting in front of your client, they wouldn't be happy if you misspelling their business. So this is step one. You write the name of the business in the empty space in your diary. And then step two, the attention grabber. By the time you get here, the client is wondering, what the hell are you doing? This is where you bring their attention back into the game. Some clients judge you before you even finish. But to be a master seller, you need to be an actor. So don't be a robot, be in the game, make emphasis, but also don't take it overboard. In this section, you circle the business name sharply. So you'll notice how I mentioned sharply. This is after you have written down the business name, you circle, and trust me, the manner in which you do the circle will most definitely bring the attention back. So as you guys can notice in front of you, there's a circle now around the business name. So you write the business name, then you circle the business name. And then step three, the number identifier. So that is where you will write the number. So now when you get to this section of writing down the number, there are three ways the game could play out. So number one, either they have an existing number they would like to port out, or they had a number ages ago and don't want anything to do with that number, with the old number, and are happy to get a new number from you. Or number three, they don't have any landline number at all, and you will have to provide them with a new number. Now, the secret is to always play around the dialing code of the area you're selling in. So if you are in the Witbank area, for example, it's a 013 number. If it's in Secunda, it's 017, Joburg 011, etc. So depending on which area you're in, always use the area code of where you are selling. That way you're grabbing your prospects' attention and they know you're an expert in their area. You can't be doing a presentation in Witbank, but giving an example of an 011, which is a Joburg dialing code. And if the client says they have an existing number, request that number and make an example through that number. And this will also help you for future purposes if you'll need to phone that client for follow-up or something. And you'll also have the same number in your diary. Now, if the client says they had an existing number but prefer a new one, just simply make up a number and proceed with your presentation. And if they say they don't have a landline number, once again, make up a number and proceed with the presentation. So now you'll notice here, guys, there's the name, you wrote the name of the business, you've circled the name of the business, and you've written the number identifier on there. Now, step 4. Clarity on number porting. So in this step, it's where you clarify to the client that we'll be porting their number onto our system, which is a cloud system. If they're not porting, this is where you also mention that the new number we're giving will also be on our cloud system. So notice again, step 1, you wrote the business name. Step 2, you circled it. Step 3, you wrote the number identifier. Now step 4, you point the arrow, clarifying that you're going to be porting their number onto our cloud system. Now, step 5 is where you explain the cloud. So this is where you draw the wobbly bubble as per the diagram below and let them know that we'll be moving them over to our cloud system away from copper or the existing service provider. It's important to clarify that it's much more stable than using copper and a lot cheaper. So you can also clarify the fact that they won't be charged a line rental amount anymore, as Telkom tends to charge around 270 to 280 on line rental, including other telecommunication companies. It's clearly written on the Telkom statement. This is one of the ways they will be beginning to reduce costs. So you can make that as an emphasis as well. So notice the wobbly bubble cloud that we've drawn there. I'll move right along. Step 6, it's where you explain the switchboard. So notice how we drew the switchboard at the bottom. So in this step, you explain to them that we'll provide them with the switchboard phone. You do so as you draw the line down and write SB below it. So notice SB at the bottom. Step 7, explain to the prospect that we will create an IVR for them. So an IVR is a voice recorder you hear when calling bigger companies or government institutions or some doctor's offices. So please, please do the sound, guys, because only when you do the sound, they understand what you're talking about. So for example, when they dial, obviously, like I said earlier on in my previous webinars, instead of the phone doing the traditional ringtone of so it will say, "Good day, welcome to AJ Telecoms. For support, press 1. For accounts, press 2. Or for appointments, press 3, or simply hold for the reception." So that is a voice recorder. So make sure you use also their business name as the emphasis. So let us say, for example, the person you're presenting to is Dr. Gray. So you'll make an example with Dr. Gray's name. So, "Good day, welcome to Dr. Gray's offices. For appointments, press 1. For accounts, press 2, or simply hold for the receptionist." It's very important you do this voice, guys, because it gives them an emphasis as well that their business will now have that idea of being a large company out there. And then step 8, this is where you create the invisible quote in your head. So why I say invisible quote, you will understand when we talk pricing and we talk commissions. This is where you know exactly how much you'll be making out of this particular deal. So by getting to this section, you begin to engage with the client by asking them how many extensions do they have or would require in their business premises aside from the switchboard. Some prospects might not be sure, but you can easily assist them by asking how many offices are in the premises. That way, you easily calculate one switchboard per office. In this instance, we'll say the client requires 3 extensions, right? So this is also a way to quickly do your calculations in your head and know how you will quote your client. So again, let us revert. Step 1, you write the name of the company. Step 2, circle the name of the company. Step 3, number identifier. Step 4, porting of the number. Step 5, explain that the number will be on a cloud. Step 6, the switchboard, explain that we'll provide them with the switchboard. Step 7, explain the IVR, which is the auto voice recorder that we'll provide on the switchboard. And step 8 now, the extensions, how many extensions the client requires. Let us move along. And then step 9, the ME, or you can say the mobile extension. So this right here, guys, is the deal breaker. If done correctly, your sale is sealed right here. So you first write the caption ME on the top right, similar to the diagram below. Then you begin to explain what an ME is. In this section, you then make an example. You tell them a client would obviously call in. So let us watch what the error is doing here. So a client would call in, obviously wanting to talk to them or the business owner from the reception. So the call can now easily be transferred to their desk or office, to the desk or office like any other switchboard. But if they aren't at their desk or at work, you can now then also emphasize that we have the ME, which is the mobile extension, which is our very own mobile extension, whereby the receptionist can easily transfer the call to their desk, but they will also be reachable on their cell. So let me illustrate. So you can actually say that to them, let me illustrate. Then you pull out your phone and you illustrate that to them. Now, you then open up the app and call the client and show them that it's reflecting a landline number. So obviously, this is if you guys have the app. So I will not waste much time on this. Now, let us move over to step 10. Step 10, that is the ask. That is where you get a response. Now, when you get to this section, you will have spoken a mouthful. This is where you pause and simply ask them a question they can never get out of. So there is only one question you can ask, and at the same time, the response will tell you whether you're doing a great job or not, and whether are they a buyer or not. So the question is, do you see the system working quite well for your business? So avoid asking questions such as, do you like this? What do you think? So just simply ask, do you see the system working quite well for your business? After asking those questions, you keep quiet and you assess their response and look at their facial expression. Look at their facial expression that will tell you whether you're winning or you're losing the game. Now, step 11, which is the extras and the benefits, which is what we call a deal sweetener. You see it written now here on the top left. In this step, you start flowing and bragging about all the extras the system comes with. By now, your prospect should be sold 80% out of 100%. The remainder 20% will be determined by the way you sweeten the deal to your prospect. So you explain the extras and benefits in this exact sequence. So obviously, you tell the client to provide them with 100 minutes talk time, which they can utilize to call all networks, landlines, and cell phones. Obviously, there's going to be optional internet. If they've got internet, great. If they don't, we can provide them with internet. The equipment will obviously be included. There won't be any installation fee. There won't be any setup fee. And then now you emphasize those as follows, as it's written below here. So you guys will have this training as well, right? And then step 12, which is the pricing. So by now, your prospect should be quite intrigued and just waiting to know how much this entire system costs. So some might even cut you while in your presentation and requesting for the price, but be professional and let them know that you'll tell them shortly and try as best as possible to present till the very end. It will give your presentation value and make your product worth the money. If you quickly rush to the price, your prospect will no longer be interested because he'll be comparing his current system with yours, and he hasn't even heard your full features and benefits. So now, guys, the pricings, right? We charge $5.99 per extension. That's the basic, right? So $5.99 per extension. And what is an extension? Remember, this is an extension. One, two, three. Those are three extensions. The switchboard is not an extension. So a client might say they only want the switchboard and no additional extensions. So you will then charge them $9.99. So if the client just wants a switchboard alone, no other extensions, just the one phone, guys, listen carefully. You will charge them only the $9.99. And then if, for example, the more the extensions, the lower the price goes. So see below, if they're taking a switchboard alone, as I explained, it's $9.99. So from 2 to 5 extensions, it's going to be $5.99. So don't include the switchboard. It's already inclusive, so you can use that as your deal breaker as well. So for example, if you look at this picture here, there are 3 extensions plus a switchboard. It makes it look as 4. So you can tell the client that you're going to charge him for 3 extensions. So it's 599 times 3, which is going to be 1797, meaning you're giving him the switchboard complimentary, or you're giving him the switchboard for free. I hope you guys understood that and it makes sense, but you can always ask these questions in the webinars and you'll see these in the upcoming webinars and trainings as well. So when done with your presentation, this is what your diagram should look like. At this point of the conversation, all you want now is for the client to sign your application form and provide you with the necessary supporting documents. Some clients might push to email them, but avoid that as best as you can, because when they leave your site, it gives them room to rethink and they might come back not interested or their minds polluted by someone else out there. So what you need is to walk out with complete paperwork and a signed application form. Then you've got yourself a fully sealed deal. Guys, I hope this presentation made sense. This was a quick illustration and a presentation on how to do the Asia Telecoms presentation and how to sell to your prospects on a one-on-one presentation. Stay tuned for all the other webinars that will be coming up. Thank you and bye-bye.